everyone. My name's Frank Metterton. I'm a seasoned and beloved radio entertainer of many, many years standing. And one of my latest projects is a thing called Jimmy's End, in which I play a rather unlikely character. As I understand it, he's a kind of a writer, an occultist, a performer. His name's Alan Moore, and I believe that he has grown up to be an embittered, monstrous figure, but it's a role, and I'm quite happy to play it. I'm fairly certain that this Alan Moore figure, for all of his eccentricities, will be something that I can handle with panache and aplomb. I really don't like what's happening to narrative in modern culture, where it's okay for the story not to really make complete sense, as long as there's enough explosions or sort of memorable lines of dialogue. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to have this as a narrative where everything was thought through and where we could guarantee to the viewers, to the audience, that if you invest time in this, you will not be disappointed, at least in terms of the story not having an ending. You may not like the story, that is your prerogative, but it is a story. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an ending.
And it's all about that sitting forward rather than sitting back. So first time you watch the film, you'll sit back and you can just enjoy it. But then the next time you watch it, you sit forward and then you can start exploring it via hyperlinks. Even outside of that, just the different elements that we are creating that will then start to exist in the real world, that you can then start and discover and find yourself.
This is our idea, that it might be possible to actually create a world of the imagination, a world of dreams, if you like, and then to export things from imagination into the real world. We thought that that would be an interesting principle to establish because it doesn't generally work that way.
When the lamp burns low upon the bureau, when the moon sets sail on cloudy skies.
When Mitch came round and said that he wanted to do a 10-minute piece for his showreel, I said, well, I could do you a screenplay for that if you wanted. I mean, 10 minutes, how long can that be? That's not going to take up much of my time, is it? So I wrote an idea for just a short 10-minute film with a nice little twist ending that involved all of the characters. I think about in a day, I wrote...
You wrote Jimmy's in a day?
I wrote Jimmy's End in about a day. That's when the problem started, really.
Yeah.
Into your dreams I'll creep.
I've got it in my head from Jimmy's End right through to the end of a possible television series. I know what the last shots would be.
It hasn't told me yet, though.
No, you know, it's sort of, I keep him out of the loop.
It does.
It would just make trouble otherwise.
I just make the tea.
Actually, that's not technically true. I made both of these cups of tea that you can see before you now. It's sort of just another example of directors manipulating the writers that they abuse. For a writer to have this much involvement in the actual film is pretty unique in the film industry. The writer is generally the last person to be considered. There is the standard Hollywood joke about, did you hear about the wannabe actress, the young starlet, and she was so stupid, she slept with the writer. When I've got complete control in a medium like comics, why would I want to work in a medium where I have less control? And it's not even a matter of control, where I have less useful input.
Everyone left their egos at the door.
Yeah.
And I think that was the important thing. It was like, let's just turn up and make this film, as opposed to, you know, I'm the rock star, I want it this way. And we did achieve that.
I mean, actually, there wasn't quite enough space for my ego at the door.
Well, I know, that's why you had the motorhome, wasn't it?
Yeah,
motorhome for you.
But I left it in the motorhome.
I've loved his work since I was a little kid, and Mum accidentally bought my brother and I, The Killing Joke, which I know Alan doesn't like, but, you know, The Killing Joke is the Batman comic. And I was only about 7, and it's a very, very dark comic. And I loved it. It probably explains quite a lot of, you know, who I am now. He's not afraid to go to the darker places. You know, we're not smiley and happy and shiny all the time. I mean, if we were, we'd be incredibly annoying. And so Alan Moore's work, he explores that, but also he textures it with an incredible sense of humour.
I'm a massive fan of Alan's. You know, I read his books and have done, you know, for years. So it's a lovely honour to meet him, really, and discover what a approachable and warm and friendly, lovely man he is. There's that warning about meeting your heroes, you know, and he's a very nice man. He's a lovely guy.
I think the thing that makes Alan's work so unique is the sort of detail and labyrinthine worlds that he creates. He achieves so much with just in a comic book that film can only be an extension of all of those things that he's capable of doing.
I've known Mitch and Alan both for some time as personal mates, and so working with them has been a different type of relationship, but it's been great. I think Mitch is doing a sterling job as the director, and of course Alan's words are wonderful, but actually working with Alan as an actor is a new experience and a good one.
Is Dad out there tonight? This is childish. You know I'll keep this up for as long as you can.
You really can't. This is what I do, isn't it? I keep this up, I maintain it, all of it. This world, everybody in it, the whole show.
It's probably a third or fourth career path for Alan there to become an actor as well.
Alan's costume was shit hot. It was amazing. When I saw Alan come out, I thought no one can beat that. Like,
I saw the costume and I think I came a little bit. He does have a phone sex voice as well. I find it very.
We could listen to that voice all day.
I need to get like a tape, some dirty stories.
I think the beauty of Alan's work is just the layers. There's a huge amount of intellect going on, humour, very, very intelligent comments, very sensitive.
Now let's have a bit of Ash. He's about to take the stage. The great I Am.
The fictional world of Jimmy's End, I mean, I described it a bit of like kind of Alice in Wonderland on crack. If Alice in Wonderland had gone down a David Lynch rabbit hole, then this is where she would be. It's just a very surreal, haunting, black hole of a place, you know. But it's very intoxicating as well.
One of the main things that we're exploring in Jimmy's End is the idea of an underlying dream time with its oddly dated, shadowy corridors, its old-fashioned ballroom, familiar places slightly altered, a nightmarish landscape which, if it exists at all, exists in the minds of the people who are living down in those areas. Perhaps it exists in their dreams.
It's like a surreal child's nightmare where things are slightly out of kilter. They're slightly to the left of reality. As James, the guy playing James, Daryl De Silva, discovers.
Jimmy's End was described to me as a kind of occult noir, and I think that's probably exactly what it is.
It's sleazy and weird and strange and unexpectedly funny, I think.
Things aren't quite what they should be. There's something a little bit strange that perhaps you can't quite put your finger on, which makes it quite disturbing. So the Jimmy's End of Jimmy's End film is like that. But St James' End in Northampton, the real place, is a wonderful place to come to.
Miraculously, they do not appear to have redecorated the lounge bar in the Jimmy's End Working Men's Club for at least 40 years. The lounge looks like it's stuck in the early 1970s. That actually created the entire storyline.
But it was without doubt the best lounge in the whole of Northamptonshire in the 1970s, and they haven't touched it. So just walking into there, the production designer walked in and turns around and goes, Jesus, 100 grand to build this.
Well, the dance hall was perfect. The elements on the stage, they're all kind of classic elements of this kind of club, with the slash curtain, which gave you like a movement and a vibrance and a light in the back wall. It's going to look extraordinary.
And cut, and we'll take that one, that's great. Thank you very much, guys.
It was a strange experience, really, because usually when I'm on the set, I have all of my team working around just to achieve one photograph. It was a little bit strange just having to step back and just concentrate on performance. I learned so much doing it. That's the important thing. I think I learned more just in what I didn't want as to what I do want. But it was a great experience, you know, putting together all of those people.
I've worked with Mitch before, and he's crackers. I mean, he does get the job done, but, you know, it makes you laugh as well.
There's a lovely atmosphere on set. I think people are enjoying themselves, you know, and he's got quite a big job on, I think. You know, there's a lot of shots to get, there's a lot of atmosphere to find, and we're obviously shooting this over a relatively short period of time.
With Mitch's direction, he can see it very clearly in his mind, visually, what he wants, you know. And so he's just incredibly down to earth. So his direction is, sometimes it's just a bit blunt, but I can handle blunt. I'd rather blunt than kind of faffing around going, oh, wasn't it? We're incredibly close now.
I feel like I've known Mitch all my life now. You know, when you work with people of their stature, you can't help but be inspired in what you want to try and achieve or what you want to give them.
For me, it's just the fact that you can spread your wings creatively. And I think that's the great thing about Mitch. You know, I've worked with him for a lot of years, and he's always been the most collaborative photographer or director, whichever hat he's wearing. He's always been extremely collaborative. You know, to that extent, he's just always pushing everybody to do the best that they can. And yeah, I think that's the best thing about it.
That's what we've all learned here today, that this is all about trust.
It's putting the right team together.
It's putting the right team together, and it's then trusting them to bring their talent to it.
When streetlights shine, you will be mine in dreamland to keep.
This is still new territory for us. And yet, I think that our greatest strength is our enormous and comprehensive ignorance, in that we have no idea what we're doing.
None whatsoever.
So it's pretty much a blank slate creatively.
It's been quite an enjoyable process because we really can do whatever we want, and it doesn't have to be like anyone else's film. We aren't trying to be like anyone else.
I think this will certainly be an unusual experience for everybody, and one that they won't necessarily have had before, but I think that they would certainly find it intriguing.
At night when you're asleep, into your dreams I'll creep. When streetlights shine, you will be mine.